guys, round number 3 recap of Ottawa March Open. I was playing against Olivier Kenta Chikurata from Montreal City, and I haven't played him before. We played in the same tournaments before, but I was never able to play against him. I wasn't paired against him, so it was an interesting challenge. I was playing with black pieces, and I really was eager to play against him, so let's see what happened. E4, knight f6, knight a3. So before the game, so the pairing was like, maybe I got the pairing like 30 minutes before the round. I tried to look for what he plays, and I saw everything. So I was like, nah man, just, I won't even try to do it, because when you anticipate a bunch of openings and try to prepare for everything, you'll basically just run out of energy. So I was like, all right, I'll just, sit at the board and think of moves to play. And, he didn't play any theoretical lines, so I was actually happy during the opening phase. b6, bishop d3, bishop b7, and now c5. So usually, guys, in this different Queen's Indian structures, when you can play c5, it's usually best to do it, because usually in Queen's Indian there are d5 ideas. Now clearly there is no d5, so c5 is the best move. Knight d2, c takes, bishop e7, c3, castle, queen e2, d6, and he plays knight g5. And we get to a very exciting point, and I was surprised to see knight g5 on the board, because it has some spicy ideas. And first of all, I was like, why don't simply play h6? And there are multiple things. So I was like, of course, first thing you calculate is knight g takes, knight g e4. And you're like, why would he play it? Like, what's the idea of knight g5? But then knight g5, and you're kind of getting scared, and you start calculating knight e6 ideas, which is, of course, not best. Everything was going through my head at this moment. King h8, rook e1. I was like, all right, will he actually try to sacrifice? But here, I mean, knight c6, and he doesn't really have anything before. Bishop c8, and suddenly, I'm holding. Somehow, if queen f4, bishop f5, and it's all good for black, surprisingly, because now queen c6 can simply take, but I'll take bishop on d3, and black are winning. But, I was scared, and after the game I asked him, what would you play if I played h6? And we actually discussed something, like, I was also thinking, like, maybe h4, but alright, it doesn't give anything good to white besides weakness on h4, potentially. What he told me after the game, f4 looked interesting, and yeah, it is looking very interesting. And I found a bunch of games in database, and I haven't seen f4 played, because h6 was kind of main option to go for black pieces, but nobody played f4. Everybody played knight g e4. I played queen c8. I was like, alright, I'm scared. What if he takes on e6? You shouldn't be scared, but alright, I started calculating. I was like, probably should have played h6, because usually this shouldn't really work out. He goes knight e4. Now I take on e4, and I was going for trades. So knight bd7 here, and again, I kind of calculated it, and I was like, alright, what might happen here? I'm not sure what I was calculating. Maybe just simply f4, which is not bad. But apparently knight bd7 is a very simple move. But I'm not sure why I didn't play it. Tough question, actually. I was calculating a bunch of stuff. I decided not to go for it. I want to go for trades. And trades didn't go that well. Here, again, you start calculating stuff. And now I was calculating h6 first. And here, apparently, I'm not losing or anything like that. What I was calculating something like queen f3, let's say. But apparently I have simple knight c6. And, everything was just going through your head. This doesn't work, because now knight f7 I can simply take on h7. But yeah, it's just like, I could play h6 here as well. Just kind of chase the knight back. There was even knight h7, but apparently I'm just bad after takes, and d5. And I actually didn't see d5. Calculation kind of ended at this point, queen d3, rook e8, and this knight is actually stuck. But yeah, I took on g5, and after bishop g5, take on e4, takes. And this was probably a critical moment of the game, because at this point I played a move which kind of gave white a lot of interesting opportunities to play with. We discussed a lot this position after the game, and we kind of agreed on a couple of things. So the point here is that, alright, my rook is under attack. First of all, I have to defend it. I have to do something. So one of the candidates' moves is knight c6, queen c6, or play d5. So there are 3 moves to go with. There's also knight d7, which we discussed after the game. Knight d7 looks good. So the idea of knight d7 is that after bishop e7 there is d5 and then rook goes to e8. But I just didn't like this position. Like, you know, yeah, we discussed it. He said me after the game 5. I was calculating this as well. But yeah, nothing dangerous, but you don't want to play with this isolated pawn in the endgame somewhere. So I was like, I don't want to go for it. And I calculated some line. I calculated queen c6. And I saw that d5 is going to be played. Another point here is knight d7, and you're always kind of afraid of different attacks. Rook e1, rook e3, rook g3. Because now white have kind of everything in their hands. They can just go and attack me. I can't really do a lot of stuff. Like, my knight is passive, it can't go to f6 because bishop simply takes, and, you know, with this huge holes on the king side, I'll just simply lose the game. So queen c6 was an option to go, and now white played d5. And another very interesting move for white. So computer says takes, but it wasn't an option for me. I was like, I can't take it, because let's say I go queen d5. That was another huge point, but rook a1, and I just simply thought that, alright, this is probably losing. E takes d5 makes more sense because you keep queens on the board, but still, it's a very, very bad structure, so you never know what could have happened here. Apparently in h6, bishop f4, I go knight d7, rook d1, and knight f6, and I'm kind of trying to hold to this g5 pawn, which is actually very hard to actually do, but alright, bishop h6 is now a huge threat, so very, very unpleasant position to be in. I played queen b7, there is a pin. He said he missed it, but, you know, I thought that white got a lot of play after queen b7. Plays queen g4, which I was calculating, and after f5, again, the position is not that terrible. There are a couple of options. I completely missed there is queen b4, which is passed. What I was calculating was queen h4 mostly, but here h6 computer says this, and if bishop is7, oh yeah, we discussed that g5 actually wins a piece, yeah, unfortunately it's actually bad for white, and they have to take. If they decide not to take, and let's go for bishop e3, I can go e5 and now take the whole center. So I completely missed g5 idea. Of course I would have played it on the board if this was to happen, but, you know, calculating from far away, you kind of miss the easiest move to go with. And after queen b4 I realized I have huge trouble on d6, I have no idea what I'm doing. I played h6, I'm kind of trying to go for the only idea, and after bishop e3 I go e5. e5 is not best, I'm trying to create counterplay, I give up a pawn on d6, but I'm giving it up for a huge, not huge counterplay, but kind of interesting counterplay, f4, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to d2, I go knight d7, protecting the pawn on e5, you know, trying to go rook f6 and taking on d5. He goes queen c6, and now this position is simply equal. I take on c6, takes knight b8, c5, knight c6. So another thing was knight a6, immediately attack it, but here I was like, alright, this is probably completely losing, because this bishop is about to strike e4, rook a d1, and this rook is coming to d7. It's a very, very complicated position. Knight c6, c4, rook a c8, bishop c3, rook c7, rook e1, rook f6. So here I should have played f3. I don't really understand the idea behind this move, honestly, but you know, later on I analyzed it and it kind of made more sense. If g3 is played, I can simply play rook d8, and if rook d8, knight d8, bishop e5, I can play rook c4, and now there are potential ideas with back rank, so white are actually limited in their activity. Rook a1, rook f6 here. I couldn't play rook d8, because takes, bishop e5, rook c4, actually I could. Why didn't play it? Wait, rook d8, what's happening? Why didn't play this move? What was going through my head? Wait, what on earth? The point is I saw this move, but I just didn't want to play it. Maybe I didn't like takes b3, just protecting knight f7, rook e1, but I simply... It looks like a dead draw. Yeah, it's an interesting... Maybe rook d5 again. King f7, rook d1, but again it is something that I can hold because bishop d4 takes, and this pawn is actually protected because background checkmate is being followed. Let's say h4, rook c4. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, rook f6. I remember I played it almost immediately. My idea was that rook is not able to come to d6 at some point. But suddenly it becomes a real problem because rook e1, rook e4, and then rook e1, and white are very, very dominant. And you know, we were both getting low on time, and this is where I blundered. I played a5. The position is very unpleasant, and I discussed it after the game, like, doesn't matter if I play a5, still I would have probably lost the game because this is getting very, very tough to play, and my pawn is likely to fall. So it all kind of started with me not trading rooks here or playing f3 again, two simple moves which I kind of missed. Still shocked that rook d8 wasn't played. Like, you know, I'm looking at this position right now, like rook d8, and the point is I remember I was calculating all these lines and I just don't know why. Maybe I didn't like b3 in that. Maybe I didn't like b3 immediately, but b3 immediately, rook d7, and I just don't see how I'm actually worse, because let's say takes, rook e1, I can simply go king f7, or I can go rook d3 instead, so I'm fine. But yeah, after f3 it turned out that I can't push e4, and this pawn becomes a real problem, which of course turned out to be bad during the endgame later. So here my whole idea was knight b4, but apparently rook d2 and I'm losing a piece, so I realized this and played this, takes, rook c4, bishop b6. I resigned because there is nothing else I could do. Like rook c2, yeah, rook e2, the position is collapsing, and this is how I lost. Yeah, bad loss, unfortunately, happens, holding my best, and then, you know, and then you made a stupid mistake. Yeah, you know, sometimes you gotta simplify. I just didn't do it, and that's fine. Yeah, rook d8 is the most simple move I've seen, and I didn't play it. Alright, I mean, happens. I'm wondering what I was calculating during that moment, because yeah, maybe I forgot that pawn on f4 is actually being defended by my rook on c4 if I take. Maybe I just look. Maybe I thought rook d7, rook e7 with rook e2 idea, so something was off, and I was getting very nervous probably as well, so yeah. Lost. Hope you enjoyed this recap. I'll see you in the recap of round number 4 tomorrow. Stay tuned. Any feedback is appreciated. Support is appreciated. Let me know what you think of the game. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.